The schoolyard buzzed with energy as students laughed and chatted, unaware that tension was about to explode. In the corner, a young girl stood silently, her eyes calm but observant as a loud, arrogant bully approached. He circled her like a predator, mocking her quiet demeanor and taunting her in front of everyone. The air felt heavier with every sneer, every jeer aimed at her. Then, in a sudden, shocking motion, he slapped her across the cheek. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some students whispered nervously. Others instinctively reached for their phones, capturing the moment. The girl didn't flinch, didn't cry, her calm gaze meeting his with an intensity that made him pause for a fraction of a second. What happens when someone underestimated finally reveals their hidden strength? There was something in her eyes, a quiet power, an unspoken confidence that hinted at a legacy no one in that crowded schoolyard could have anticipated. The bully thought he had complete control, but the silence she maintained carried a weight far heavier than his mockery. The girl stood near the edge of the bustling schoolyard, her posture relaxed but her eyes scanning everything with sharp awareness. She wore simple, casual school clothes, jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers, but there was an air about her that made her presence felt even in her quietness. She didn't speak or react to the teasing that floated around, yet every subtle movement she made was precise and deliberate, hinting at discipline and inner strength. Across from her, the bully thrived on attention. Loud, overconfident, and brimming with arrogance, he strutted toward her, drawing the eyes of nearby students. His smirk widened as he prepared to humiliate her, relishing the reactions of his peers. The schoolyard buzzed with anticipation. Students whispered, nudged each other, and secretly filmed the unfolding drama, while a few teachers in the distance noticed the tension, their brows furrowed with concern. The air felt charged, as if waiting for something unexpected to happen. Despite being cornered, the girl remained composed, her calmness unnerving those who expected fear or submission. There was a subtle aura around her, something the bully didn't recognize, a hint that she was far from ordinary, and that the silence she maintained held a depth of power and resilience that no one in the crowd yet understood. The bully stepped closer, towering over her with an exaggerated swagger, his voice cutting through the chatter of the schoolyard. He mocked her softly at first, then louder, his words sharp and demeaning, designed to humiliate. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue. Are you always this pathetic?" He jeered, shoving lightly against her shoulder to assert dominance. Some students laughed nervously, unsure whether to join in or stay silent, while others exchanged uncomfortable glances, sensing the tension rising. A few whispered encouragements, secretly hoping she would stand up to him, intrigued by the quiet defiance in her eyes. The girl didn't flinch. She remained still, her face calm, her posture relaxed. Yet her eyes were alert, scanning the bully, the crowd, and every possible exit. Every gesture, every smirk from the bully was catalogued in her mind, analyzed for weakness. There was a subtle power in her silence, a controlled intensity that made the audience sense she was not just another victim. The bully, oblivious to her inner strength, continued to push boundaries, testing her patience with taunts and shoves, unaware that each move was being anticipated. The air around them grew thick with suspense. Whispers and murmurs spread through the crowd as the tension became palpable. Students began to notice something unusual. Her silence wasn't fear, it was calculation. Something in her eyes, a quiet determination, hinted that the moment the bully thought he had control, he was actually walking straight into a trap. Every word, every shove, every sneer only sharpened her focus. The audience watching could almost feel the shift in energy, the sense that this encounter would not end the way anyone expected. The bully's arrogance blinded him to the truth. He had underestimated the girl, and his mistake would soon become painfully clear. Even as the bully continued his relentless taunts, her mind drifted briefly to memories from her childhood. She remembered evenings spent in the dojo with her grandfather, Chuck Norris, who had taught her that true strength was not in striking first, but in patience, discipline, and control. Every fall she had taken, every mistake she had made in training, had been a lesson in resilience. She had learned to read people, to sense intent before action, and to maintain calm even when provoked. Her grandfather's voice echoed in her mind. Power is respect earned, not fear imposed. Strike only when necessary, but when you do, it must be decisive. Those lessons shaped every movement, every breath, and every thought in this moment. She had practiced self-defense for years, mastering techniques that could neutralize threats quickly, but she never used them out of anger, only when justice demanded it. Each subtle movement she made, shifting weight slightly, tensing her stance imperceptibly, revealed her readiness without giving away her full strength. The whispers of students around her, the nervous glances of the bully, and the laughter of some did nothing to disturb her focus. Inside, she was calculating, preparing for the exact moment to act. She was patient because she knew the power she carried, the legacy of her grandfather, the discipline instilled from years of training, and the intelligence to control every outcome. The audience could feel the tension rise, sensing that the quiet girl was far from ordinary. Every second that passed made the imminent reveal more electric. The bully, arrogant and careless, had no idea what force he was provoking. Her past had prepared her for this, and now silently, she waited for the moment when her restraint would turn into action that no one in that yard would ever forget. The bully, fueled by arrogance, shoved her against the fence, certain that he had full control. His smirk widened as he laughed, calling her weak and daring her to respond. The crowd around them gasped, some stepping back, uncertain whether to intervene or continue watching. A few pulled out their phones, capturing every moment, while others whispered nervously among themselves, sensing the tension building. Despite the aggression, she remained calm, her breathing steady, eyes focused, betraying no fear. She shifted her stance subtly, a slight tightening of her fists, a small step back, not to retreat, but to signal that she was aware and ready. Her gaze never wavered from his, and in that silent stare, a warning passed without a word. The situation was no longer as he assumed. The bully, blinded by confidence, failed to notice the subtle movements, the controlled energy, and the readiness that emanated from her every gesture. The audience could feel it. The air thickened with anticipation, a sense that something monumental was about to happen. In that fleeting moment, the power dynamic began to shift imperceptibly, and anyone watching closely could sense that the tables were about to turn dramatically, and the arrogant bully would soon learn that underestimating her was a grave mistake. She slowly reached up and touched the pendant hanging around her neck, a small gleaming symbol that caught the sunlight and shimmered in front of everyone. The intricate design hinted at legacy and discipline, something far beyond an ordinary girl. The bully noticed the glint, his smirk faltering for the first time, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. Whispers spread through the crowd as they leaned in, eyes widening, some pointing subtly, trying to make sense of the sudden shift. A few students whispered to each other, murmuring about the resemblance, about stories they'd heard of the legendary martial artist. Her calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the bully's growing unease. She didn't need to shout or act aggressively. The mere symbol she revealed was enough to make the power dynamic begin to shift. The tension in the air was palpable, hearts racing, breaths held. The audience watching could sense that a major twist was unfolding, that the quiet girl they had underestimated for so long held a connection and power that no one had anticipated. The moment hung silent yet charged as the bully's confidence wavered, and the first realization began to ripple through the onlookers. Everything was about to change. The girl moved with fluid precision, every motion deliberate and controlled. She intercepted the bully's shove with a swift step to the side, redirecting his momentum without causing serious harm. Her arms and legs moved in perfect coordination, a dance of trained efficiency that reflected years of disciplined martial arts practice. The bully lunged wildly, his fists swinging erratically, but she remained calm, her eyes focused, reading every movement before it even happened. Each block and counter was measured, executed with minimal force yet maximum effect, forcing him off balance again and again. Around them, students gasped, some instinctively reaching for their phones to record the unexpected spectacle, while others cheered, unable to hide their shock and admiration. The chaotic energy of the bully, fueled by arrogance and aggression, collided with her composed, silent authority, and the difference was staggering. Her face remained serene, showing no anger, no haste, only control. A subtle glance, a small shift of weight, a perfectly timed step. It was enough to make the bully stumble, frustrated and humiliated in front of everyone who had mocked her moments ago. Whispers ran through the crowd as the full weight of the moment began to settle in. The girl's silent confidence radiated power without a single shout, her skill undeniable and awe-inspiring. The audience felt the tension and release simultaneously, realizing that this was not just self-defense. This was the graceful, commanding presence of someone trained to handle danger effortlessly. Every eye in the yard followed her movements, hearts racing, breaths caught, anticipating the full reveal of her true identity and legacy, knowing the tables had turned completely. The girl took a calm breath and then spoke, her voice carrying effortlessly over the murmurs of the crowd. "You should have known better," she said, holding up a small pendant around her neck, engraved with the iconic symbol of Chuck Norris. Gasps rippled through the schoolyard as realization dawned. The bully's smirk froze into sheer disbelief, his arrogance collapsing in an instant. Every student and teacher present stared in awe, some stepping back, others whispering in shock. The air shifted, power dynamics reversed in a heartbeat. The bully, once confident and mocking, now seemed small, vulnerable, and utterly stunned. The girl's composed posture, calm eyes, and subtle smile radiated authority far beyond her years. Everyone understood. This was no ordinary student. This was someone whose legacy commanded respect and caution. The crowd's excitement mingled with tension, each person silently questioning what would happen next. The lingering suspense hung heavy as viewers could sense the consequences the bully would inevitably face, leaving everyone on edge, captivated by the revelation. The bully stood frozen, humiliated as teachers and nearby staff quickly intervened, pulling him back and scolding his reckless behavior. Whispers of astonishment swept through the crowd, everyone now seeing the girl in a completely new light. She adjusted her backpack, straightened her posture, and walked away with calm composure, her dignity untouched. The students and onlookers exchanged glances, some nodding in silent admiration, others murmuring their respect for her courage and discipline. Her quiet confidence and measured actions left a lasting impression, proving that strength does not always shout, it often commands in silence. The lesson was clear. Never judge or underestimate someone based on appearances. What seemed like a vulnerable, quiet girl had the legacy, training, and courage to turn the situation around completely, leaving everyone in awe and deeply reflective. The story of the day reminds us that true strength comes from restraint, discipline, and inner confidence. The bully thought he controlled the situation, but he had no idea whose bloodline he had challenged. The girl's calm, precise actions showed that courage and preparation always outweigh arrogance and aggression. Her silent mastery left the entire schoolyard in awe, proving that appearances can be deceiving and that real power is measured not by force but by control and integrity. What would you have done if you were in her place? Share your experiences with bullies in the comments, discuss the lessons learned, and don't forget to watch our related videos for more stories of courage, resilience, and shocking twists.